I'm going through a box of artwork that's left over from my studio. So this is all work that would have been created prior to when I left at the end of 2017. This is all work I would have had for sale that didn't sell. Kind of wanted to go through this to see if there's anything that I wanted to pull out and enjoy. I already did that. I set those things aside. These are all things that I don't have as much attachment to. Makes me sad sometimes to look at these things for a lot of different reasons. I'm glad that so much of my work, and I mean like a lot, I'm so glad that I found homes for a lot of my work. I frequently would sell things like this, you know, like unframed, just like matted or on a piece of mat board, and I sold them pretty reasonably, like under $100, and I was really grateful that so many people would pick things like that up for, you know, like on a first Friday, or they'd come to me at the holiday time because they wanted to give people gifts. But the work in here spans, you know, anytime from like 2009 to 2017. Lots and lots of mandala art in all different forms. Painting, ink pens. This is some gouache paint, watercolor paint. Little collage here with a mantra behind it. Every so often at my studio, I would have a little exhibition hanging all kinds of little small works up on the walls, calling it a wall of smalls, and invite people in to buy work. I remember the last one I did, some of these works are from that, and I remember just having like zero energy to publicize it. It's one of the things that really became quite difficult for me towards the end, in that I just no longer had the energy to ask people for anything. This one goes this way. I didn't have the energy to put together marketing materials, to write emails, or anything. I had really just lost all of that energy. Or else I had spent it in ways that I shouldn't have. Sometimes you find yourself giving away your energy in ways that weren't helpful. Like trying to help others, thinking in some way that energy would, I don't know, sustain you. The energy of, like, you know, working with others or doing collaborative things, that would build momentum. I think a lot of those types of activities contributed to my burnout. It's really hard for me to make art anymore. I definitely have lost a lot of ability to focus. I've had to shift a lot more towards expressive works that are more spontaneous and Like, I just can't sit down and do something like this for 2 hours like I used to. I need a different type of creative stimulation. I don't know why that happened. I don't know if I just, moved to a different phase of creativity, or if somehow I just can't access this kind of creativity anymore. But I look at it and I get sad, it's like, oh, I want to pull my colored pencils out and do a thing. And, you get rusty. You definitely start to get rusty after a while. And if you did pull things out, it would likely, not necessarily be as, the experience probably won't come out the way you want it to, because you haven't been practicing, because you haven't stayed with it. And then you get frustrated and then you put everything away. But I've found a lot of I don't want to use the word joy, because I don't know, that's not really a word I think that describes me. But I get a lot of pleasure out of working with paper these days. Like paper sculpture and making little books and things like that. That's the kind of stuff that has made me happy. And one of the reasons why I came up here to kind of revisit some of this stuff was to think about whether or not anything could be turned into anything else, whether I could make something. But there's a part of me that doesn't even really want to touch this stuff, that this stuff must stay within its own kind of like little time capsule. I guess I'm kind of weird like that. I like putting things in boxes, like metaphorically. And this was the mandala period, for sure. And the mantra period. There's mantras around this one too. This one here, this like weird kind of, I shouldn't call it weird, but it's kind of like this weird geometric landscape. I actually did a whole series of these. I have like 40 pieces like this that like pretty much no one has ever seen. I should film that one of these days too. Like there's like, I've got exhibitions that I could do if somebody wanted to frame everything and do everything for me and I could just show up. That would be awesome. I can't do it anymore. The mailing lists and the, trying to keep people engaged. It's so hard, especially now. People are so distracted. People's time online, they're just pulled in so many directions. It's really hard to keep people's attention. I used to really like making these. I was using Neocolor Artist crayons over colored paper or painted paper. I really like this whole series. I sold a bunch of them. These are the ones I have left. I loved having a box of artwork that people could come by and just flip through and, hey, I'd like this. Another gouache piece. This is also gouache. I remember making this around the time Prince died. I think I did two pieces around that time. And this one was a study for something else. But that something else piece I destroyed. But I kept this. Just thought it was kind of neat. This is one of the last projects I did at the Banana Factory. I did this series of 4 paintings. kept the other two. The other two are in my house hanging up. These two are not. It's funny, I sold so many pieces of artwork with handprints and footprints on them. It's really amazing to think about that stuff being out in the world. Kind of like, you know, the cave paintings. I wonder how long they'll last out in the world. This is an unfinished piece. Something I started that weekend, or I should say the week that I did that painting intensive up at the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors with Alex and Allison Gray. I started it, never finished it. And these are prints left over from a piece. The original was sold. So anyway, that's you know, my box of stuff that's left over from my studio era at the Banana Factory.